All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to GDG Cloud Edmonton Ask Me Anything series. My name is Wenfei. I'm the host for today's session, and today's topic is the job market for front-end developers. And alongside with me, our co-host. And today we are very happy to have Stanley joining us as a guest. So Stanley, I will let you the audience, and also maybe you can give a short self-introduction.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, my name is Stanley. As you guys heard before, I'm a software engineer. I've been a software engineer for quite some time now. I think over 10, 11 years now. I have a comp sci background, computer science background from York University in Toronto. I have worked in multiple different sectors. The oil and gas industry. I've worked in the academic industry. Back in Toronto, I worked for IBM, and now I work for a construction tech company. This is me in a nutshell. Hopefully today I can help you guys answer any questions you might have with regards to front end development and the job market for that space.
Awesome. Thank you. Uh, Avenia, do you mind muting your microphone? It's causing some noise there.
Okay. Can you hear me better? It's just I have just installed my headphones.
I see.
Do you still hear
Okay,
that
yeah.
background noise?
I can hear you.
Yeah, still a little bit. So, Vania, do we have a question right now you want to ask Stanley?
Oh, sure. Thanks. Hey, Stanley. How is the job market in Edmonton for front end developers?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it would be nice if we get a proper context of what I guess front end. Your question was job market in Edmonton for front end developers, right? Yeah. So I wanted.
Yes, like
It would be nice if we get a context of front end development, right, and what it is, right, what those guys do, right. So front end developers really take care of things that customers can see, right, when navigating a web app, right, or a website, right. So the most the all they mostly work with web apps, and take care of the visual portions of the website. They would usually possess skills like HTML, JavaScript, CSS skills. So these are skills that you would usually use for front end development. They are also knowledgeable at responsive web design. So the space of front end developers would usually include UI and UX developers as well, right? So UI developers and front end developers. With regards to job market in Edmonton for front end guys, um, the thing is, front end, back end, software engineers, all these guys almost go hand in hand with each other. So if the job market for one of those job positions is down, there's a very high chance that the job market for the other is down as well, right? Because they're all technology positions. Um, Edmonton's economy is controlled by Alberta's economy, right, which is oil and gas, right, for the majority of things. And oil and gas hasn't been favorable for us in general. I think for the past 4 or 5 years now, and COVID just made that worse. The good thing about Edmonton is that before COVID, the startup ecosystem had been on the rise, right? COVID sort of like set us back a bit, but I think that the job market is still stable. Um, with COVID, however, the job market now for front end engineers is not limited to just Edmonton, right? So most companies are offering their employees the ability to work remotely. Most companies have gone remote now up until 2021, end of 2021. So that gives front end developers in Edmonton even larger space to cast their net with regards to like when looking for job. When you compare salary for front-end developers in Edmonton compared to front-end developers in, say, San Francisco or Toronto, for example, the pay rate is low in Edmonton, right? So you would find companies in those areas looking for front-end, like looking for cheaper labor, right? So if they get someone front-end engineer in Edmonton, the pay will be slightly lower than they would pay someone in San Francisco. So if you would ask me, I would say yes, it's favorable to be a software engineer or front-end developer in Edmonton or in Calgary and Alberta today as of now, because one, you have a lower pay, like you can, the companies can afford you for at a cheaper rate than guys in Toronto, Vancouver, or San Francisco. COVID is favorable to guys for us. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing, but with regards to the job market for front-end developers, it is favorable to guys in Edmonton. So if you would ask me, in the sense of the tech space at large, Edmonton, guys in Alberta, it's favorable for us all because now we're doing our jobs remotely, and we're not just heavily dependent on the oil and gas market in Edmonton as it is today. I don't know if that answers your question. It was a bit broader than the question, but I just thought I should put some context into my answer.
Certainly you did.
Right.
Thanks a lot for your input. Yeah, it helped a lot.
Okay.
Thanks, Stanley.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Vania. So Stanley, I'm just curious because I mean, in the very beginning, you mentioned what the difference between front-end developers and back-end developers, right? So in terms of the job market, can you tell us a little bit more about differences for, I mean, the job market differences for these two type of developers?
Yeah. I guess I didn't really explain backend, but I think you get it, right? If you're not front end, you're back end. It's one of the two, or you're doing networking. But back end guys usually do things that customers can't see, right? So like they would do like the system architecture, they would work on like the data management, right? They would work on security or accessibility issues. They would do any back end modeling or calculation that needs to be done at the back behind the scenes. So those guys would usually use backend languages like C#, Python, Ruby, right, Java, and then SQL for database querying. Now, your question was how does the job market differ for front end and back end, right? And my answer for that really is this, right? Before COVID, right? So I guess people weren't really worried about funding, and not funding, but they weren't really worried about uncertainty of the market of things, right? But bring COVID in, then you have companies trying to economize on how they spend. Now, in most cases, you can't have front end without back end, right? Unless you can have front end without back end, unless you are maybe just starting out and then sort of just building out a proof of concept, right? Or a very static sketch that you can just show the investors and stuff. So that's where you just need just a front end developer. So needless to say, they go hand in hand with each other, right? So do they differ? Of course they differ, but they don't differ by far off, right? They're probably different, just job responsibilities and stuff. But when the when the demand for front-end engineers is high, you definitely have a demand for back-end developers as well, and almost vice versa. But what I think most companies will do now, because of COVID, is they would want to have a hybrid of both. Now, this is where full stack development comes into play. So I've seen front-end developers that also have a hint of back-end development skills as well, right? So they would know how to write Node.js applications, right? And so they will have an understanding of a mean stack. So MongoDB, Express JS for serving up your Node.js app, Angular JS, which is the front-end framework. Some people prefer React, some guys do both. And then the N is for the Node.js application. So I've seen front-end developers that also have a full stack skill level, and cases like this is most favorable to them. So to directly answer your question, how do they differ? They don't differ that much, right? Before COVID, the demand for both positions was almost identical. Backend developers would definitely be on the higher end, but it was almost identical. Pay rate is almost similar. I mean, unless you begin to sort of categorize the different kind of backend developers, then you have some backend developers earning more than the other backend developers, and that's where you begin. You differentiate those guys by the skill level and the years of experience and those kind of things. But the same goes for front end development as well. So they both almost go hand in hand. I don't know if I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the information. So another question I have right here is that, I mean, from the previous series we have, that we have some students, right, joining our series. And
Yeah.
so my next question is, so for students who are developing or who are exploring their career possibilities, do you have any suggestions, or do you have any learning resources you can recommend for both front end and back end development, so that they can prepare for their career development?
Yeah. So I guess with regards to preparing for career development, if you're so let me sort of like start from students that have maybe just finished school or just finishing school, but are not doing computer science, right? But want to understand or get some understanding on what programming and all these things is all about. So they can go to learning sites like Coursera, Udemy, and sort of like take some tech related courses there. You can also get certificates on there as well. So that will sort of like put like a verification stamp or validation stamp for you if you want to pursue a tech related career in the future. For students that have already finished school with a computer science background, front end, back end, whatever one they prefer, but maybe want to learn more. Coursera is definitely a very good resource. I use Coursera myself because I find that it's very, very structured. And I like the fact that you get a certificate after you're done. So like a certificate of completion. There's also I guess it's a startup that I came across recently. I think I've known about them before. I've just never really paid attention to them. It's called Lambda School. So it's this. I think if you Google it, so you can basically learn how to become like you could basically learn software engineering or full stack development for at $0, right? And then after you're done and you get a job, then you pay them back. So there's guys doing this kind of things out there, right? So again, I think this will be most favorable for guys that finished university but don't have a technology background, but then they want to learn more about technology and full stack, or maybe they can't get a job easily because of COVID. So this is a good resource because really software engineering jobs it's with the exception of software engineering jobs, so most of the other jobs have been on the decline, right? For software engineers, it's been for the most part stable, right? You even have some startups still getting funding, and with people working remotely, software engineering jobs just fits right in. right? So for you would most likely, like if you go and try to look for jobs today, you will most likely find that your job search board is filled up with software engineers, companies looking for software engineering talent. So yeah, Udemy is a good resource. So what's the I forget the name of the other one. Coursera is also a very good resource as well. Coursera also offers like mini degrees, nano degrees. So if you even want to go further and get a computer science degree, a nano degree, you can get that on Coursera as well. For job search, there's tons of job search boards out there that cater mostly to startups, right? There's one called Hire.ca. If you're looking for a job, I really advise you that should be your go-to. Full disclaimer: I don't work with any of these guys. I work for Autodesk, so I'm not trying to market their products.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Stanley. So
Yeah.
do we have any more questions from the audience? If not, I guess that's today's series. So thank you very much again, Stanley, and all the audience participating in our event. And thank you very much for tuning in. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.